The main goal we really want to do is to get the very high standard we expect for OFC and NFOEC. These are the cutting edge papers that say, this is the direction we're going in future. This is what we need to watch out for, and this is the items we need to be thinking about. In terms of the highlights, one of the big pushes is obviously capacity. There's this worry that we might run out of capacity, so people are looking at more and more inventive ways of trying to increase the capacity of the fibre that we've got in the ground, and also thinking about new fibres. So one that ranges from things like very high throughput radio over fibre to spatial division multiplexing, where they're using new fibre types and the associated DSP for that. Also related to that, they're looking at things like new modulation formats, so four-dimensional modulation formats, adaptive rate systems, and that's what's being done on the point-to-point systems for the long haul. We've also got work that's being done on access networks, so you've got an OFDM and hybrid system, TDM, WDM systems are being looked at as a way of increasing the capacity for fibre to the home. Then as we look at the network, people are looking at FlexGrid, and that's very much a hot topic that's been going on for the last couple of years. And what we've got this year is a workshop which is then going to say it's a lot of time and investment to go to this FlexGrid. Is it really worth the 30% gain that we're seeing from this? So we're going to have quite an exciting workshop looking at that. And I'm quite excited by a lot of the other workshops. We've got a lot of questions which these workshops are going to try and address, and it's trying to probe and have some real interaction, a good high-level discussion about what the real issues are in the community today, and what are the things we need to be thinking about for the future. Related to that is the convergence of optical and wireless networking, and we've got a symposium on that. That's again a key topic as far as I can see going forwards for optics, because wireless is underpinned by optics, and at the moment we consider them separately. So what we really want to do is to try and pull those together and have a more holistic view of how we converge wireless and optical networking. In terms of the integrated photonics, there's a lot of work going on there, particularly the silicon photonics, where people are looking at, can you merge optical functionality with the digital signal processing and go to that dream of having a single chip that does all our optical processing and our digital signal processing together, which would hopefully lead to the lowest cost, lowest energy consumption for future optical networks. We've been very keen to push on is to make sure things like workshops are very interactive, and that we get a lot of discussion going on there so that people are able to have a discussion with other people who are working in the fields, and we can actually together collectively move along the field. What we're trying to move to this year is very much a free-flowing format in contrast to a regular technical session. And so what we've actually tried to do is most of our workshops are actually trying to answer a question, and hopefully it's a provocative question which is saying, and we have polarized views on this, so we can get a good discussion going within the community, and so we can both set that question to the community and then see what the answer is, so we can weigh up the relative pros and cons in terms of how well we answered that question. We've got two linked workshops on this, one of the hot topics, which is space division multiplexing. So the first workshop is the technology there for SDM? And we have a second workshop which is, if the technology is there, do we want to use it? Because it means ripping out the existing fibre, putting all this new fibre. So these are the two workshops that, for example, are coupled, and they're trying to, one will follow the other, saying, do we have the technology? Is it something that is feasible to do? And then the real question is, if it's feasible to do, is it really something sensible to do? So that's what we're trying to do in terms of linking that and actually trying to get some discussion going. Certainly from what we've seen in the technical programs before, it should be possible to do a lot of the technologies, but whether or not it's possible to do the SDM in a realistic scenario of finite energy, etc., for the DSP and not having the DSP budget explode. So we know it's possible, but to do in theory. What we're trying to explore is how feasible is it to do without using the typical energy budgets we have for an optical transceiver. There's a lot of discussion in the program about increasing the capacity. So that, as I say, that one of the issues is, for example, how we better utilize the fibre. And that's not just from how we use the 4 dimensions that we have in the fiber, so we can modulate the in-phase and quadrature for the 2 polarization, but how we then better link that with the networking side, so the FlexNet, FlexGrid, and how we also do the adaptive rate modulation formats. This does require a certain change in terms of how we configure our network, so we might need variable rate client side, but it's the kind of thing we need to start thinking about now before we hit that capacity limit. And when we're certainly talking about capacity limit, it's very much from the perspective of a point-to-point link rather than from the network. So what I think we'll start seeing now, and this is starting to emerge, is the idea of starting to look at capacity from the network perspective rather than just the point-to-point perspective. I would encourage everyone to come along and come to the workshops and get involved and ask the questions of those people doing the work in terms of why are they doing it and is this the right direction to be going? Because only by coming to a meeting like this do we actually get to talk to the people who are doing it.